Hi everybody, this is week 13. Time to find out what's going on this week. So your to-do list is pretty short and sweet. Your multimodal project draft that you've been working on this last week will be due on Wednesday. So be sure and post that by the end of the day on Wednesday, and then you'll be responding to 2 of your peers' drafts by the end of the day on Sunday. So really important that you do those peer reviews. As soon as you post your draft, Canvas will assign you 2 people to do peer reviews. At least that's what they say they will do. If that doesn't happen for some reason, somebody please let me know, and I will go into settings and tinker around to make sure that you know who you're going to be doing peer review for. Here's what the module looks like. So remember the first one there, lesson 4.2, basically the link to what you need to do this week. And there, the second one, draft and peer review, is the link that takes you to the submission page for that particular assignment. So I wanted to talk about your peer review prompts here, just to remind some of you what these involve. So if you want full points for peer review, and if you just want your peer reviews to be as helpful as possible to other people, really look over these prompts and think about these carefully. Does the project meet the requirements of the assignment? This is pretty big, because there have been a few people that have been turning in things that really are kind of, way off of the assignment, and yet I see some peer reviews going, hey, good job, nice work. I'm thinking to myself, really? I mean, did you really read this paper? So think about what the assignment asked you to do, and if you see somebody who maybe got a little bit confused, point it out to them. Say, hey, I don't think that's quite where we were going with this assignment, or, you left out this really important part, because that may be the last chance they have to fix that before they hand in the final draft. Is the piece well organized? Does it flow naturally? Now, because these are multimodal projects, obviously they're a lot shorter for most of you than a 5 or 6 page paper, but they still need to be organized in a way that is logical, that people, the intended audience, can follow the line of reasoning. So whether it's an infographic, which you clearly are going to be reading from the top down, a brochure, which you're going to be starting on the first page, moving to the second page, moving to the third page, does it look like the information flows in a way that is really accessible and understandable to the target audience? Is there sufficient evidence to prove a claim? This actually comes with the citations, and I'll talk about that on the next slide here. Stay focused and concise. If you're doing a poster, an infographic, something that people are going to be just almost glancing at as they're walking down a hall or, standing in a bus shelter, it is so important that you really use the minimum amount of text to convey the idea that you want to communicate. So, how well did they do that? Let them know. If there's any questions, anything you want to point out, and of course, if you see some glaring, spelling or grammar, you can always point that out too. It's important to cite your sources, no matter what the format is. So in a paper, you had a separate page called your works cited page. You can do that to a certain extent. As you can see there, I gave you an example of what a works cited page, or in this case, a slide, would look like if you had put together a presentation. So at the end of a presentation, a PowerPoint, you would have an entire slide that listed the sources that you used. There on the left, you see I just did a little screenshot at the bottom of an infographic, and there it says source, and it shows where the information came from. Now, if you have 2 or 3 sources, you're going to have to be creative with your formatting and make sure you get those all in. If there's something else that you're not entirely sure, like where to put the citations or the sources, just Google it. You'll find some examples. If not, just, use your ingenuity and make sure that somewhere there toward the bottom or at the end of whatever form that you're creating, people understand what the sources of information were that you are using. All right, well, I said this was short and sweet, and so that about wraps it up. I'm going to try doing something a little different this week for office hours. Rather than having a Zoom call, I'm going to do office hours on chat. So if you have any questions at all about this particular assignment, about the peer review, maybe about the upcoming final portfolio, just log on to the Canvas course site. There along the left-hand margin, you'll see the button to navigate to chat, and then you'll come up with a dialog box like this, and that where you see one person online, well, that would be me, and all you have to do is just in real time ask me your question, and I will be monitoring that, and I can get right back to you, and then we can have a little convo right there in chat to answer any questions that you've got. All right, well, that about wraps it up. So next week, have a wonderful, relaxing, hopefully, Thanksgiving break. And then when you come back, we will hit the ground running. We'll have 2 more weeks left in the semester to put together your final portfolio. All right, have a great week. I'll talk to you later.